We turn now to page 556 to chant Ashrei responsively.
Ashrei Yoshvei Beitecha, Odi Hallelujah Sana.
Ashrei Am Shekacha Lo, Ashrei Am Sharuna Eloham.
Tehillah David, Aromimcha Elohai HaMelech, Avarcha Shimcha Le'olam Va'ed.
Bechol Yom Avrachecha, V'alala Shimcha Le'olam Va'ed.
Gadol Adonai Mehulal Me'od, V'legdulato in Heker.
Dole do Shabach Ma'asecha, Ugvorotecha Yagidu.
Hadar Kevod Hodecha, V'divrei Niflotecha Asicha.
Bezuz Norotecha Yomeru, Gdulatcha Saprena.
Zecher Atucha Yabihu, V'tzidkatcha Yiranenu.
Chanun V'rachum Adonai, Erech Apai Mugdal Chased.
Tov Adonai Lakol, V'rachamav al kol ma'asav.
יודוך אדוני כל מעשיך וחסידיך יברכוכה.
כבוד מלכותך יאמרו וגבורתך ידברו.
להודיע לבני אדם גבורותיו וכבוד אדם מלכותו.
מלכותך מלכות כל עולמים וממשלתך בכל דור ודור.
סומך אדוני לכל הנופלים וזוקף לכל הכפופים.
עיני כל אליך יסברו ויתנתי להם לתוכלם בעיתו.
פותח את ידיך ומשפיל לכל חי רצון.
צדיק אדוני בכל דרכיו וחסיד בכל מעשיו.
קרוב אדוני לכל קורב לכל אשר יקראו באמת.
רצון יראיו יעשה ואת שבתם ישמע ויושיעם.
שומר אדוני את כל אוהביו ואת כל השעים ישמיע.
תהילת אדוני ידבר פי ויברא כל בשר שם קודשה לעולם ועד.
ואנחנו נברך מעתה ועד עולם. Hallelujah. 66.
Mani tefilati leka Adonai et ratzon Elohim berov chasdecha aneni bemet yishecha vayehi bitzo Aaron vayomer Moshe kuma Adonai yafutzu oivecha veyanusu misanecha mipanecha ki mitzion teisei Torah ki mitzion teisei Torah udevar Adonai mirushalayim baruch shenatan Torah Torah baruch shenatan Torah Torah le'amo Yisrael b'kedushato.
From ancient times, it has been believed that a person's worth is in the power they hold, in the people they control, in the wealth they keep to themselves. But Torah came into the world with a radically different message, that a person's worth is in the power they share, in the people they lift up, and in the wealth they give to others. This teaching has kept our people alive and thriving for thousands of years. And it is because we have passed it down from teacher to student and parent to child. And so we continue that tradition this day.
גדלו לרעיתי ונרממה שמו ידם לך אדוני הגדולה הגבורה התפארת והנצח וההוד כי כל בשמיים ובארץ כי כל בשמיים ובארץ לך אדוני הממלכה תמיד נעשה לכל הראש רוממו אדוני אלוהינו וישתחוו לאדון רגליו קדוש הוא רוממו אדוני אלוהינו וישתחוו להר קודשו
רוממו
אדוני אלוהינו
וישתחוו להר קודשו. You may be seated. It begins with this idea that is completely different from anything ever experienced, which is an idea that promotes a fresh start, an ability for everyone in society to be able to start from an even playing field. We're going to learn a lot more about that from Naomi later, so we can look forward to that. And Naomi will be reading specifically from the book of Leviticus, chapter 25, verse 1. You can find that in your Chumash in the Red Book on page 738.
Just bring it up with you.
תעמוד פרדה מנדל בת יעקב ברלה לוי וטוב עליה פלת הקריאה יעמדו יעקב ברלה לוי בן חיים הלוי ולאה רזה טוב עליה בת מרדכי שיה ואלקה לעלייה הראשונה.
They're going to put the talit on and then you're going to read this. Okay, great. And then there's an English underneath. You can put that on her shoulders. You wanted to okay, fix the hair. That's your fault. Now recite the blessing. Baruch atah.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehitativ b'tzitzit.
Amen.
With gratitude and pride, I now prepare to read the Torah in the sacred tradition of our ancestors. I pray that God is with me and all of my loved ones at this holy moment, and that the memory of all who came before me stand with me at this time. May their strength be my strength, may their wisdom be my wisdom, and may I continue to walk the paths of our people as I bring our heritage to a new generation.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehechianu v'kiyamanu v'higianu lezman hazeh.
Amen.
Blessed are you, Lord our God, ruler of the universe, who has given us life, sustained us, and enabled us to reach this moment.
Amen. Now, would you kiss the inside of the Torah, please, with your talit? You guys ready?
Just wait for the blessing. Wait for the blessing.
Baruch hu Adonai hamvarach.
Baruch Adonai Baruch Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim. V'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch Ata Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen.
Vayedaber Adonai el Moshe bechar Sinai lemor. Daber el bnei Yisrael ve'amarta alechem ki tavo'u el haaretz asher ani noten lachem v'shavta haaretz Shabbat l'Adonai shesh shanim tizra sadecha v'shesh shanim tizmor karmecha ve'asafta et tevuata.
Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Asher natan lanu Torah emet. V'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch Ata Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen.
And for the shoulder. You have to hug your parents. Sorry, she's sweaty. Okay, cover it on this side.
Yamod Yishaya David Alevi, Ben Yaakov Ber Alevi, V'tov Alea, Aliyah Hashenit.
I'll sing it in your ear. Wait for the blessing.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim. V'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch Ata Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen.
Uvashana hasheve'it Shabbat Shabbaton Yehiel la'aretz Shabbat l'Adonai Sadecha lo tizra V'charmecha lo tizmor Et sefia ketzercha lo tigzor V'et inve nezerecha lo tigzor Shenat Shabbaton Yehiel la'aretz V'hayta Shabbat ha'aretz lachem le'achla lecha v'lavdecha v'la'amatecha v'lischercha v'toshavcha hagarim imach v'levhemtecha v'lachaya asher be'artzecha tehiyeh kol tivuata lechol.
Wait for the next to the end. That's okay.
Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Asher natan lanu Torah emet. V'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch Ata Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen.
Come around on this side. Mazel tov, Yeshua. Not yet. Wait for the blesser.
Yamdu Chaim Alevi, Ben David Alevi V'inda. Le'ereza Bat Shaleh Ubela L'Aliyah Hashlishit.
You gotta breathe. You're almost done. You're almost done. And you're free. Watch out for this one.
Yes.
Thank you.
Just
For the
reach in
reminder?
there. Reach in there. Yep. That's how you get the honor.
Thank you. Baruch Hu et Adonai Hamvarach.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Ata Adonai Hamvarach Va'ed. Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim. V'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch Ata Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen.
V'safarta lecha Sheva Shabbatot shanim Sheva shanim Sheva pe'amin V'hayu lecha Yemei Sheva Shabbatot hashanim Tesha ve'arba'im shana V'ha'avarta shofar teruah B'chodesh hashevi'i Be'azor lechodesh Be'yom ha'kippurim Ta'aviru shofar bechol v'kidashtem. Eat shanat hamishim shana ukratem diror ba'aretz l'chal yoshvecha yovel hi tehiyeh lechem yishavtem. Ish el achuzato v'ish el mishpachto tashuvu.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai notein haTorah. Amen.
We're not going to make you do all that work.
Yamdu Elkabat Moshe v'Freda Mindel Mordechai Shaya ben Moshe Umasha Mordechai Moshe ben Yehuda Levi Lana Laliha Havit Yamod Yeshaya David ben Yaakov el Halevi v'Tova Leah Bal HaKriyah.
So can you read that? Okay. Take your talit, touch it.
Baruch Hu et Adonai Hambarach.
Baruch Adonai Hambarach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hambarach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bacha banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et torato. Baruch atah Adonai notein haTorah.
Amen.
Yovel Hi Shana Hahamisim Shana Tehiyeh Lachem Lo Tizra'u V'lo Tikseru Et Sefiheha V'lo Tiseru Et Nizire'a Ki Yovel Hi Kodesh Tehiyeh Lachem Mim Hashadeh Tochelu et tivu ata Bishnat ha'oyel hazot tishu ish el achuzato. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai notein haTorah.
Amen.
You can just you can come wait on this side.
Tamod Freda Mindel bat Yaakov el Halevi v'Tova Leah
You guys read it.
Kalat bat ha-mitzvah Tamod Tova Leah bat Mordechai Shaya ve'Elka Balat HaKriyah.
Okay, touch your talit in. Naomi, touch it. Touch in here on this vahi right there. Baruch.
Baruch Hu et Adonai Hamvorach.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et torato. Baruch atah Adonai notein haTorah.
Amen.
Do you see that vahi right there?
V'chi timcheru mimkar lamitecha od kano meyad amitecha el tono ish et achiv b'mispar shanim achar hayovel tikne meot amitecha b'mispar shnei tivuot yimkar lach lefi rov hashanim tarbe miknato lefi me'at hashanim tim'at miknato ki mispar tivuot hu mocher la.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torat emet, v'chayei olam nota b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Sing it up, mazel tov, sing it up, mazel tov, sing it up, mazel tov, sing it up. Yehelanu, Yehelanu, Oleko Israel. Yehelanu, Yehelanu, Oleko Israel. Yehelanu, Yehelanu, Oleko Israel. Yehelanu, Yehelanu, Oleko Israel. Yamod.
You can go sit down.
Daniel ben Dov v'vaka Hamagbiah. Yamdu Miriam bat Yehezkel v'Tova Moshe ben Miriam v'Daniel Hagolilim. Please rise. Have you done Hagba before? Fantastic.
You did this before?
No.
Did you watch the video? Which way you do it against the circles? And then slide it. Okay. Push down. Yes.
וזאת התורה אשר שם משה לפני בני ישראל על פי אדוני ביד משה.
Do you want this? I think that's I'll be fine, hopefully, okay? Okay, don't just go slow. I'll tell you when to go. Okay. You did all the hard part. Girl, this is English. This is easy part.
We now continue with a few words of Torah from Naomi.
Are you happy with the world as it is? Because I'm not, and I don't think the Torah is either. Instead, the Torah tells us many ways that we could improve on this world. My parsha is all about practicing social justice through nature and economy. My parsha makes reference to something called Shemitah. It's a once every 7-year period where all the land cannot be worked for food, and all debts are forgiven. After 7 Shemitah cycles, the Jubilee year happens, when everyone gets to start off with a clean slate and return to the property that they may have had to sell over the past generation. This was the Torah's way of ensuring that we care for the land and each other. By the way, Shemitah is actually happening in Israel right now, and they're having to figure out how that works with growing food when they can't do farming. The Jubilee and Shemitah years are meant to be seen as sacred, and really I understand this all as meaning that in these sacred years we shifted our priorities to share what we had with those less fortunate. In fact, that's what I think this parsha is all about. According to the art of doing tzedakah, Judaism teaches that the greatest charity is to enable the needy to earn a living. In other words, we should help people learn how to provide for themselves. My portion instructs that on the rest year, or the Jubilee year, the people who used to own land but somehow lost it should have a chance to go back and live there again. By giving them a second chance to own land, they can produce their own food and leave poverty. We should always give opportunities for education and skills to help lift people from poverty. People often feel that giving to charity means to take from yourself and give it to others with no way of making it back. But the Exodus Rabbah tells us that a torch is not diminished though it kindles a million candles. A person does not lose by giving to those in need. This quote means that you can't lose anything by donating. And although you may not have as much of whatever you donate, you will still have gained much more than you have given. By giving to someone, you are also giving yourself. My portion shows that bringing people up is not anywhere close to a loss. This quote proves that more. And this reminds us that if there is someone in need, you should not just give them something to make them last a little longer. You should actually help them create something that will help them make it through eternity. Speaking of eternity, Rabbi Morris actually had a bunch of things to say on how you spend your time. One thing he said that proves this is, instead of saying that you have 49 years ahead of you, you should say that you only have 7 more sabbatical periods left to live. And so you see, the days of your life are all too short. This is actually just saying that you should not look at your life like you have a bunch of time left. Instead, you should look at it like there's no time left. And that might sound kind of depressing, but when you look at it, it isn't. The quote was saying that you should cherish the time you have now because you might regret it once you have no more time left to spare. My portion teaches us that every 7 days, 7 years, and 49 years, we should take a break. This quote reminds us that if we work hard but think of life in terms of our breaks, we will appreciate it even more. The Torah teaches us that a big part of Judaism is respecting and following God's rules. One of these rules, the Shemitah year, is an important year with significant meaning. In the Shemitah year, we don't touch the land, but every year we should still care for our neighbors and ourselves. Whether our neighbors are in a good spot economically or not, we should still make sure to help them rise up as far as they can go, money-wise. Lending out a helping hand with charity is a great deed to the world. We should all care for the land and care for our neighbors, but we all must care for ourselves as well. Caring for yourself can mean lots of things, such as hygiene or working out, but one thing it means unconditionally is for you to savor your life. A way to savor your life is by counting the number of years by 7, which is a lucky number for Jews for many different reasons. All the things in my part should just round up to what's around you, caring for the people around you, respecting the land around you, and sharing to those around you less fortunate. For my Mitzvah project, I asked people to donate to Team Trees. They're an organization that takes in money and then uses that to plant trees. This Mitzvah project relates to my Torah portion and its direction towards caring for the land that we use. My Torah portion is about making sure the land every once in a while gets a rest, and my Mitzvah project goes towards making sure that the land itself can live to see the next generation. That, in my opinion, is how my Torah portion and my Mitzvah project relate to each other. Thank you and Shabbat Shalom. Have a great night.
Shabbat Shalom is Koah. Don't go down yet. I know your parents want to come up and say something to you. And then you're going to have to listen to me after that.
Oh, no.
Naomi, our blessing for you.
We wish that you live a full life of people like yourself, kind, intelligent, generous, caring, funny, challenging, and dependable.
We wish that all your dreams are fulfilled and you have great health and happiness in whatever path you take.
We wish you many successes and that when you don't succeed, that you learn and grow from the experience.
We wish you adventure and excitement and always finding joy and learning in new experiences.
We wish you intelligence and understanding and hope you continue to always treat others as you yourself would be treated.
We wish that whenever you speak, your words be of wisdom and friendship, as they always have been.
We wish you love, a love like we feel for each other, and that if you want it, you may find the perfect companion with whom to travel through life.
We wish you children that give you as much comfort and joy as you, Isaiah, and Jordan have always given to us.
We wish you wisdom and confidence, the wisdom to know that we are all in this together, and the confidence to act accordingly.
And we wish you peace, a clean earth, the right to always make your own healthcare decisions for your own body, and freedom to be whoever you are destined to be. Because no matter who that is, we will be there by your side to support you and cheer you on.
We are so proud of who you are and what you have accomplished today and every day. Mazel tov, and we love you.
Can I sit down? Can I sit down now?
Stay up here with me. Look happy. You should look happy. You did wonderfully. Yesher koach. Naomi, I loved our conversations, and I love how you went right for this most radical message of our Torah, where somehow every 7 years we're supposed to give the land a rest. You know, this idea that we have enough faith that things will work out, that we can let a whole year go without working the land, and just knowing that there will be plenty with which we can survive, that we can cancel debts regularly and still be economically okay. And then an even crazier idea of the Jubilee, of the Yuval, which if any of you have seen the final scene of Fight Club, this is where they got that idea. Where we erase all debts and everyone gets that fresh start. And any ancestral land that had to be sold to someone else because someone needed to sell it. You wouldn't sell your land because that was how you received your income unless you were in financial straits. Every 50 years, that goes back to the original owner. So everyone gets a fresh start once in a generation. Completely radical. And one other idea in here is that anyone who is a slave in our society, no matter what, at 50 years would go free. Now, sometimes we have trouble with the idea that, wait, Jews had slaves? Yes, it is significantly less than ideal. The Torah sometimes proposes radical ideas that are completely different from what was before, and sometimes they offer something that was slightly better than what was before. They couldn't eradicate the institution of slavery yet, so they gave more rights to them. And essentially, the Hebrew slaves in the Bible, they were people who they had to pay off their debt, and so their time was owned by their master, but they still had a lot more rights than what we think of for slavery today. But nevertheless, they were to be released at the end of 50 years if they didn't take the option at 7. Rav Avraham Yitzhak Kook, who was the first chief Ashkenazi rabbi in the state of Israel, an incredible scholar and pluralist and mystic, he actually wrote a little bit about the choices that were made here. When the Pennsylvania Assembly in 1751 wanted a special bellcast to commemorate the 50th anniversary of William Penn's Charter of Privileges. This would be the Liberty Bell. And they were trying to find the right text to go on the Liberty Bell. And ultimately they chose a text from your Parsha. If you go to Philly, you will see it there. You will blow the shofar on the 10th day of the 7th month. On Yom Kippur you will blow the shofar in all your land. You shall sanctify the 50th year, proclaiming freedom to all its inhabitants. And so built into this nation's fabric is this radical notion that we should do things that are out of the norm, that are unexpected, that may be difficult to accomplish, to ensure that freedom and goodness can reign, that people can truly be free. And there's something even more interesting that the Talmud has to explain that Rav Kook points out, because you would think that slaves would be freed on the first day of the Jubilee, on Rosh Hashanah. But they're only released on the 10th day. So the Talmud said, well, how can that be? Well, of course, when the Talmud asks a question, sometimes the Talmud will offer an answer. And they said, because that release from slavery can't be the first thing that happens. We have to prepare for it, because they've seen, and we've seen historically, that if you just say, you know what, I know we didn't have a good history, let's just wipe our hands clean, and you're free, and go forth and have a good day. We've seen historically that often there will be a reaction, and it's not always a good one. Thank you for the freedom. There will be a sense of perhaps trying to take back, or a violence or anger or vengeance. And the Talmud recognizes this from the beginning, and they say, well, what were these slaves doing for those first 10 days? They were feasting. That they were commanded, starting at Rosh Hashanah, to feast, to have all the food they could want and all the drink they could want. And I quote, they were to have crowns upon their heads. But who were they feasting with? They were feasting with their former masters. That there was a notion from the beginning that emancipation had to be accompanied by reconciliation. That it wasn't enough just to raise our hands and say, okay, we're good now. Society, those who had power, had to work to make amends and connect and show understanding for those who did not have power. And we understood that it was only if we did that work could we truly then move into a society that would function well. So Naomi, you have taken on, and you really went straight for the Torah, that gave us an amazing vision of what the world could be. Understanding that Torah isn't just advice for how to live an individual religious life or even an individual good life overall. It is counsel on how we ought to live as a society. And Naomi, you get this. You do not accept the world as it is whatsoever. I remember before we met, your mom said, Naomi has a lot of questions. I'm not sure you're going to be happy with them. And I said, no, that is exactly how we should go, and that is exactly how we went. You do not take anything for granted, and you push, and you do so with an amazing heart that wants to see a better world, a world that makes a little bit more sense, a world that looks after people a little bit more. And you apply that in whatever you do, whether you're seeing the world right here at home, whether you're with your family or with your friends, or even on your own just learning in class. That is an incredible gift. And you know that you carry that with you from your incredible familial history, from carrying your grandmother's name and your great-grandmother's name with you, from having your brother read Torah and your mom read Torah here. You carry our tradition with you in having your talit and your necklace from Israel. And in wanting to know our history, you understand that to move forward, we need the support of those who came before. So Naomi, don't change your approach. Keep on pushing the envelope, because the Torah started that. And the Torah is your birthright. And you will continue to use it. May we all be so blessed that you continue to use these teachings to work for the world that ought to be. Mazal Tov, we are so proud of you, Naomi. And we now ask that everyone rise. We are going to offer you one more blessing. This was the blessing that was offered at the temple on high in Jerusalem. May God always look upon you with favor, and may God grant you a lifetime of peace. Ken Yehi Ratzon, Mazal Tov. We now prepare to return the Torah to the ark. Ken, what page do we turn to?
We return the Torah to the ark on page 570. Yahalelu et Shem Adonai, ki nizkar Shemo levado. Vodo alelet v'shamayim, vayarem keret lav. Livnei Yisrael al kerovo. Ushar Shemo be'ahava, Melech Ozer u'Mashiach u'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham ve'Ezrat Sarah. Atah gibor le'olam Adonai, Mechayim itim atah Rav le'Hoshia, Mechayel hayim behesed, Mechayim itim berachamim rabim. Somech noflim v'rofei holim, umatir asurim, umayem emunato, l'shem le'afar, nilchamo chama gevurot, umidom melach, melech meimit u'mechayeh, umatzmiach Yeshua, v'ne'eman atah la'achayot meitim. Baruch atah Adonai, Mekayeh hametim. Nekadesh et shimcha ba'olam, kashem shemakdishim oto b'shnei maron, kakatuv al yad nevi איש, ושבחך אלוהינו מפינו לא ימוש לעולם ועד. כי אל מלך גדול וקדוש אתה, ברוך אתה אדוני,
ושמו.
האל הקדוש.
You may be seated. Page 582. אתה אחד ושמך אחד ומי כעמך ישראל, מי כעמך כעמך ישראל, גויך הארץ, תפארת גדולה ועטרת ישועה. יום מנוחה וקדושה לעמך נתת, יום מנוחה וקדושה לעמך נתת. אתה אחד ושמך אחד ומי כעמך ישראל, מי כעמך כעמך ישראל, גויך הארץ.
And we continue on page 585.
May we find contentment in your blessings and joy in your sustaining power. Purify our hearts to serve you in truth and to help us enjoy in love and favor the heritage of your holy Shabbat. May your people in Israel who sanctify your name find true rest on this day. Praised are you, O Lord, who sanctifies the Shabbat.
Amen.
Ritzeir Eloheinu be'amcha Yisrael, u'tfilata b'yavati v'bratzon, v'ratzon tamir v'dat Yisrael, amen. V'tachazena eneinu b'shgav rachamim, baruch atah Adonai,
ושמו.
המחזיר שכינתו לציון,
Amen.
מודים אנחנו לה. התוק אלוהינו רגמך, והברקאים גדולתם וחסדיך מעולם, קיווינו לה. ועל כולם יתברך כפי שמם שמך מלכנו תמיד לעולם ועד. וכל החיים ידעו בסלע, ויהללו את שמך באמת. האל ישועתנו ועזרתנו סלע, ברוך אתה אדוני.
ושמו.
הטוב שמך ולכנה להודות.
Amen.
Page 590. Shalom Ra Yisrael Amcha,
Nasim leolam. Shalom Ra Yisrael Amcha, Nasim leolam.
guard my tongue from evil, and my lips from speaking guile. Guard my heart from hatred, and my mind from harmful thoughts. Help me to avoid shameful speech as well as shameful silence. May my words be messengers of your will, humble in spirit, helpful in purpose, seeking justice and pursuing peace. O Lord, guard my spirit from weakness and my soul from gloom and despair. Strengthen my worthy desires that I may serve you in joy every day. Thus I may reflect on your holy name in all that I say and do.
Amen. Page 592. Ose shalom bimromah, uyase shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael. Yase shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael. Yase shalom, yase shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael. Yase shalom, yase shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yase shalom, yase shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael.
And we continue on page 610. Please rise. Aleinu l'shabeach Adon hakol, לתת גדולה ליוצא בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כעת, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא, שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסר הארץ, ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינתו זו בגובה מרומים. הוא אלוהינו אין עוד, אמת מלכנו אפס שולחתו, ככתוב בתורתו, וידעת היום והשבות אל לבבך, כי אדוני הוא האלוהים בשמיים ממעל, ועל הארץ מתחת אין עוד. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד. At such blessed, joyous moments like this in the life cycle of our families, in the life cycle of our community, we feel such joy seeing all those who are with us in person today, here physically and also digitally. And we also feel sadness knowing that we have loved ones who died before we could reach this day. And today, Naomi's family, they remember Jason Weinstein, Muriel and Moses Weinstein, Norma and Morris Dicker, Helen and David Halpern, and Sheldon and Betty Miller. And we now honor the memory of these loved ones whose yahrzeits are observed this week. Morris Abenstein, Albert Martin Auerbach, Faye Binnen, Joe Borsch, Goldie Cohen, Ida Descal, Arthur Davidson, Bessie Druckman, Harry Dunsker, Vivian Ertel,
Gloria Freireich, Joshua Gendel, Sylvia Greenstein, Ellen Hecht, Melvin Hirsch, Elliot Jacobs, Miriam Jacobs, Lillian Kessler, Alex Legowitz, Martin Lakoff, Lionel Levy, Rosalind Levy, Pearl Lipman, Dorothy Matheson, Dorothy Moranis, Dora Pear, Benjamin Plotkin, Stephen Ravit, Roy Roberts, Jenny Rogovin, Claire Streit-Romer, Dorothy Rosenbaum, Seidel Rosenberg, Blanche Satcher, Edna Saltzman, Rosalie Schulman, Arlene Schumer, Bert Siegel, Nat Singer, Lois Solomon, Morton Weissman, Stephen Weiss, and Bernard Yudkov. We recall those for whom the Shloshim, the first 30 days of mourning, are being observed. Rosalind Crosser, Ruth Delinko, Esther Kukoff, and Sidney Foyer. And we now extend condolences as we remember those laid to their eternal rest in the week now ending. Brad Scher, husband of Susan, father of Clara, Lily, and Samuel. And Howard Levine, husband of Jackie, father of Ellen, Stephen, and Ned, father-in-law of Suzanne and Beth, grandfather of Hillary, Judd, Jordan, Jason, Kobe, and Ethan, great-grandfather of Annie and Bo. We also keep in our hearts all those whose lives were tragically cut short by the war in Ukraine and by the violence in Israel. Zichronam livracha, may their memories always be for a blessing. We invite all those mourning, all those observing Yahrzeit, and all those who wish to rise for Kaddish Yatom on page 616. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, בעלמא דברה חירותי וינליך מלכותי, בחייכון וביומכון, חיידכו בית ישראל, בעגלה ובזמן קריב אמרו, אמן. יהא שמי רבה מבורך לעולם ולעולמי עלמיה, יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתחומם ויתנשא, ויתהלל ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי לקודשה בריחו, לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, דמירן בעלמא ואמרו, אמן. יהא שלמה רבה מן שמיה, וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו, אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, ויעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו, אמן. מקום ינחם אתכם בתוך שער בני ציון וירושלים. May the one who grants comfort grant comfort to you mourners along with all mourners of Zion and of Jerusalem. It's now with pleasure that I invite up as our officer this evening, Tara Heiderman, for some announcements. Yes. Just make sure to add the calendar. Okay, that's it. Go.
Shabbat Shalom and welcome. On behalf of the officers, trustees, and the entire Temple B'nai Abraham family, I wish a heartfelt mazel tov to Naomi and her family on becoming bat mitzvah. All of our adult education classes and programs are ongoing.
We present Naomi, we wanted to wish you a hearty mazel tov and congratulations on behalf of the Sisterhood and Men's Club to you and your family. And we present you with gifts that we will present to you at a later date. So congratulations and mazel tov.
Thanks. You're welcome.
And so to conclude, we invite up Jordan to help us lead Adon Olam on page 412.
Adon Olam Asher Malach B'terem Kol Yitzir Nivra Le'nasa V'cheso Kol Azai Melech Shemo Nivra Ve'acharei Kiflot HaKol Levado Yimloch Nora Ve'hu Haya Ve'hu Oved Ve'hu Yeh B'tifarav Ve'hu Echad Ve'en Sheni Ve'hamshir
Shabbat Shalom, Mazal Tov.
Give this to your mom.